Hey everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight TV Edition. I'm Peter, and that is Timmy, and we are of course working our way through Tales from the Crypt, the original HBO anthology horror series based on all the old comics, Vault of Horror, Tales from the Crypt, and all that. This is going to be season 2, episode 9. It's called Four-Sided Triangle. Will be full spoilers for the episode as we talk about it, so you have been warned. So Tim, what did you think of Four-Sided Triangle?
Really rapey.
That is a very good word for it. Yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, I do like the ending. I'll say that. Before that, is definitely uncomfortable at parts.
Well, I'll tell the good folk what it is, what it's about. So, Four-Sided Triangle is directed by Tom Holland, who is known for directing Fright Night and Child's Play, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And it stars Patricia Arquette, who obviously a well-known face.
Who also directed Child's Play.
Was that a joke?
Yeah.
Okay. Comedy, people. Comedy 101 from Tim Vergilish. So they're basically white trash, and they live on a farm.
No, see, I think I'm going to argue with this a little bit. I don't really think of this as white trash. I think of these as like farmers. Like I think of white trash and farmers as kind of different.
I'm not saying they're white trash because they're farmers. I'm saying they're white trash because of the way they talk to each other and the fact that their clothes are always dirty for no goddamn reason. And also that because it's a married couple who
hate each other.
Who hate each other, and Patricia Arquette's this young woman at the time, and she's like their help, their maid. They treat her like a slave. Like the woman like orders her around and makes her do stuff, and it's all kinds of things. But we see that the husband has a very perverted crush on her. He keeps staring at her. He keeps like watching her through cracks in the wood. And early on in the episode, after he's been caught staring at her, he demands that she go and milk the cow. And then he watches her milk the cow.
Yeah. There's no like subtlety with this guy. Like it's not like he's longing after her from afar or anything.
No, he's longing for her about 2 inches away from her, breathing on her face is what he's doing. He basically tries to force himself on her, and she fights him off, and like the wife doesn't believe it, but she runs out into the cornfield, and she comes across a scarecrow, which for some reason has a clown mask. Have you ever seen a scarecrow with a clown mask before?
Once at an ICP rave I went to, but other than that, no.
Things I learned about Tim today that I never knew. Tim once went to an Insane Clown Posse rave.
Juggalo for life, So I think the big question that I have for you about this episode is she kind of, when she runs into the cornfield or whatever, she kind of has this little spell or whatever and kind of faints and falls to the ground, and then she sees like the scarecrow getting up and reaching for her. Yeah. Now, do you think this happened at all, or like are we led to believe that there is something going on with this scarecrow, or is she just bananas?
I think she's just bananas. I feel like if there was something going on with the scarecrow, there would have been a return to it at the end of the episode. There would have been another hint of it or something. It's completely on its own, so to me it feels like she is just bananas. And she falls in love with the scarecrow and keeps referring to it as her man. And she keeps saying these weird things like, "Oh, one day he'll make love to me. I know it."
Yeah.
This episode is really rapey, but also really kind of two-dimensionally sexist. It's actually a really... I wouldn't say I was uncomfortable, but if I felt more sensitive, I probably would be.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see like this episode being problematic. I guess in general, I'm usually not one to be like offended or anything, but yeah, you can't help but kind of watch it and like cringe a little bit and be like,
because I mean, the wife is basically a drill sergeant who treats her like a slave, and treats her husband like a prisoner in the sense that if I catch you cheating, I'll cut your dick off.
That actually, I thought that was kind of funny. Like they're just lying in bed, like obviously, like facing opposite directions and like super not close or whatever.
What you mean?
And
What you mean? They're not hugging each other and spooning lovingly, and he's whispering sweet, sweet nothings into her ears.
well, what I like about it is like she says like, "Hey, whatever his name is, I forget, but like, hey, and it sounds like very sweet, like the kind of thing like late at night you would say to your partner. You'd be like, hey, just let you know I love you, good night, or whatever. Like it kind of sounds like she's starting to say something like that, but she's like, hey, you know what I would do if I ever caught you cheating, right? It's just like, like she's just like really like enforcing it. Like, yeah, I'd cut your dick off.
Yeah, and he keeps trying. He goes out and watches her, and he sees that she's like in love with the scarecrow, and that's what she's doing. So then the next night, she goes out to meet the scarecrow again, and we clearly see what's going on here. He's dressed up as a scarecrow. He's put the mask on. He's put the outfit on, and he starts.
She specifically says, I believe, like tonight, like I'm gonna. Well, she said like tonight I'm gonna make love to him finally, or something like that. That he was kind of like, oh, like this is my cue.
Yeah, she dresses differently, thinking she'll impress the scarecrow, and he dresses up as a scarecrow, and they start making out, and it's going places. But his wife wakes up and notices he's not there, so she goes out in a tractor in a mad rage to find him, and he like pretends to be a scarecrow again and like stops moving. And the twist, or I say twist, but the big ending is that she stabs him with a rake to prove to Mary Jo, which is Patricia Arquette's character, that he's really just a scarecrow.
I call it a pitchfork. Do you call that a rake?
Oh yeah, you're right. It's a pitchfork. Sorry, it's not a rake. No, you're right.
Okay.
You're right.
I just wasn't sure if that was like a.
No, I'm just misremembering. No, that's my bad. No, that's a pitchfork, and obviously he falls to the ground and he's dead. And she's like, "Oh, you stupid old man," and that's kind of your ending. Yeah, so that's back to why this is kind of a really offensive episode for lots of reasons. So the wife's like a drill sergeant who treats her like a slave and treats him like a prisoner. He is this rapey old man who tries to force himself on her repeatedly. And then her character, like her entire character revolves around, oh, I do want a man, but this is the man for me. So, I mean, forget, not the fact that she's crazy is not necessarily offensive, because if, a character's crazy, that's fine. But the fact that it all revolves around, oh no, I do have a man, and this is the man, and like that's all she wants to be complete. Like, everything about it just feels really poor taste.
Yeah, and I don't know, something about the main farmer's character that's just very upsetting to me. Like obviously the fact that he's like a creepy, rapey pervert dude, is enough to make him unlikable. But I don't know, just the fact that it's like, it's not like he comes on to her once and then she rejects him and he's like, oh darn, whatever, but just the fact that like he's like continuously trying it and he's like pleading with her. There's also like this level of like oh, it's like very like sad and pathetic, and it's there's a lot that's like wrong and annoying.
Going back to the whole white trash and they always look dirty thing, every time he eats, there's always like bits of food like in the edge of his mouth that he's not like got, like, it's just there the entire scene, and there's just everything about it's almost that Rob Zombie effect of everything feels kind of grimy in a really nasty way where you just want to shower afterwards, because I've noticed they always do this with characters like this, and like especially like TV shows and movies like from this time where they're always, and don't get me wrong, like a farmer who's been out working all day, yeah, sure, his clothes would be dirty. He's in his overalls. That's kind of the point. But even like when she's in the house and like her jeans are ripped apart, like at one point she's like half of her ass, like, and the jeans is ripped, and it's exposing like half her ass, and her tank top is really dirty. And I'm like, no one does this. People wear clean clothes. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, you want the feel of clean clothes. It's just, you don't have to be rich to have clean clothes. It's a normal thing.
Please take a shower. It just.
Maybe if he took a shower, he wouldn't come off as so creepy.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he cleans up. Okay.
maybe she would be open to the idea if he wasn't a disgusting pig. I don't know. And there's still an age difference. Don't get me wrong. Still an age difference. That's still an issue. Also, they also do mention that they don't pay her. She is essentially a slave. There's like one line of dialogue that said she was caught stealing or something like that, and they took her in.
Was it? They made it sound like yeah, she was like run away or something. Like she kind of didn't really have like an option to leave or something. They made it seem like I don't know.
I would love to like see Patricia Arquette asked about this in an interview. Do you remember that Tales from the Crypt episode you did?
She's like, well, I'd rather talk about my directing career than start talking about Child's Play.
Oh, Tim, I'll give you
No.
props for making a call back to your earlier joke. I will give you props for that.
No, so I guess maybe I'm looking too much into it, but
You probably
so
are, but continue.
so so at the end, the wife pitchforks the husband, and then Patricia Arquette pitchforks her,
Hmm.
and then she kind of like, walks away, kind of like happy skipping, kind of. My kind of thing was like, oh, like was this like her plan like all along? Like was she like, ooh, like I'll act crazy to get this idea about a scarecrow, and then the farmer will dress up like one, and then like the wife will come and like I don't know, like was this
I
her plan or
I didn't get that. No, I feel like that's so like. Why wouldn't she just let him come on to her a bit so that she could like, but do it in front of her so she would catch him, and then that would give her an escape. That would be a really convoluted plan. I still get the impression that she was crazy at the end, like, and she was just
yeah.
like doing it out of a jealous rage. But that's
Yeah,
just me. I don't
just
know.
curious. I don't know, just like I'm not saying that that's was definitely my takeaway, but I was kind of wondering it at the end, like, well,
Nah,
overall, not a great episode.
not at all. I'll be honest. Season 2 so far, if you add it all up, is kind of weak compared to season 1. Like I feel like we've been more negative and critical of this season so far than we were season 1. Even though I like some of the bad episodes, like there's not been as many good ones, and there's been a couple of like proper stinkers like this one. So, oh, this one is definitely the most offensive of the batch. So yeah, that's this episode. Have you anything to say about the Crypt Keeper?
Always a joy.
I mean, specifically about what he says in this episode.
No, because I do not remember.
Yeah, weak episode, not that great. So hopefully next one's better than this. I can't imagine it's worse. I can't imagine it's more offensive either. So yeah, that's been Tales from the Crypt, season 2, episode 9. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time.